How's it going? I am so excited to be here with you today. I have been MIA recently. Um, Sorry, I just saw something pop on my screen. I wanted to make sure that I was streaming. I actually, about a little over a week ago, actually lost the ability to taste and smell. It was actually the same day that I lost my ability to interact on Facebook. I got another 30-day ban. But yeah, I lost the ability to taste and smell, and everybody pretty much knows that that is associated with, you know what? I'm gonna try to not get banned today for this video. But yes, I'm feeling much better. That was pretty much the only actual symptom that I had. I had a little bit of like a head cold feeling, and I was having some like cognitive issues. I think when I was losing my train of thought, like in my last two or so lives, I think that was like the pre sickness, if that's even what it's called. Like I literally wasn't sick at all, pretty much. I just wasn't able to smell and taste. And I'd actually TMI, sorry, but I did have early menstrual cycle as well, so I can see how it's been correlated with miscarriages if it's forcing women to have their periods early and stuff. Lots of issues with that. So I do personally believe that it is real, but not, I don't believe what is being said about it. Like, there's never been a time in my life where people en masse just started losing their sense of taste and smell, right? So it's like there's something obviously going on, and we're being lied to not only in the mainstream but also in the truther community. The powers that be can smell and taste now. Yes, I'm gradually getting it back, and yeah, so I'm really excited about that. The powers that be basically, you know, they have tried to control every aspect of the awakening. Pretty much everybody was woken up by, you know, one of the inverts that was put in place to wake us up, whether it's you know, flat earth or investigations or any other topic, right? It's like we're given this network of shills, of gatekeepers to give us half truths and to keep us under control. And this whole topic is one that has been really promoted by clever deceivers to make us you know, look silly. And I'll explain what I'm talking about, because I don't agree with either side of the argument in full. It's like a Hegelian dialectic where it's like we're kind of like they're trying to force us to choose one or the other. And it's like, it's just like Republican or Democrat, right? The average truther is going to be like, whoa, pump the brakes. I don't belong to either one, right? Like they both have their issues. And ultimately, I'm worried about the truth, not participating in these Hegelian dialectics that divide and conquer, that are geared toward making us look like clowns. And they want truthers especially to be the most deceived out of everyone, right? It's like you start to wake up and you find out flat earth, you find out that the inverts are running our world, you find out all these other things, and then we're the same people that are promoting these true topics to us then start promoting like drinking pee and other deceptions that, you know, because we are trusting them because they told us the truth about flat earth, then it's like, well, maybe they're right about this. And then you go online and you can find well, I personally haven't found them, but there are people that have been fully convinced by doctors that drinking urine is right? So they went from like waking up to way overboard, and now it's like people, when truthers promote these clown agendas and deceptions, people from the outside are going to look at us, and then they're going to like, I'm not worried about being judged, but I'm worried about being not only a clown, but discredited because I'm saying things that are, you know, that are mainstream truther things that aren't actually based in truth, which leads us into the topic that we are talking about today, this germ versus terrain theory. And, you know, the average person is in, when we are born, we're in this reality where the doctors are and everybody, not just the doctors, but everyone's focused on the germ, on particularly the virus. Although germ theory and terrain theory, like like they say germ, and a lot of people are focused on bacteria, and they're confusing bacteria and viruses and exosomes. So these are all topics that we need to discuss today, so that we know what the truth is, right? We don't want to be clowns and just repeat something and blindly accept it just because it's the opposite of the mainstream. Like there's a kind of the mainstream promotes globe, so we accept the truth of flat earth. The mainstream accepts, evolution, and we accept the truth about creation. So a lot of times people are like, oh, well, if it's in the mainstream, we need to go in the complete opposite direction. Like with urine therapy, it's the one that comes up the most often. It's like, well, the mainstream says not to drink pee, so we should. Like that's the agenda that they kind of promote. Like, oh, well, you're just promoting what the mainstream says by saying not to drink it. Is like, I'm promoting what the truth is. I don't care what side is saying the truth or where the truth is coming from. I just care about saying the truth, right? So hopefully you are on the same page with me. Hopefully you're not like polarized to saying that we have to choose one or the other. We're interested in finding the truth of the matter. And there's a lot of deception in this. I kind of want to focus on what the truth is rather than like going into all the details about the theories and how, there's tons of videos online that you can go, and people are explaining all of the different intricate parts and all the people involved and everything. But I just want to focus on what the actual truth of the matter is. And the truth of the matter is that viruses, I'm going to focus mainly on viruses because that is the end result of this whole debate, is that viruses don't exist. So that's kind of what I'm mainly focused on. And the truth of the matter is that they can cause diseases if your terrain is unclean, right? So there are multiple factors at play. It's not just one or the other. Like if your immune system is pure, then anything that, any viruses that they do send out, your body's just gonna, you might have like a sneeze or something and then it's nothing, right? Whereas someone who is unhealthy, they eat a lot of junk, their terrain is dirty, that virus is going to be able to thrive in their environment and cause all sorts of havoc and dis-ease for them. Dis-ease, being not at ease, a state of dis-ease. So these actually, I'm going to show you really quick here. So I made some memes. So first of all, I'm going to just have to swing my camera around here and set this up here. All right, perfect. So the truth is that germs do cause disease, but if your terrain is healthy, if it is pure, then it's going to fight off any of these diseases. If you are at all aware of the situation that we are in, the depopulation agenda, they are trying to put out diseases that hurt us, that make us sick. Having this continual yearly flu and cold season, it's like they're constantly creating these viruses and sending them out. And if you aren't healthy, if your terrain isn't pure, you're going to be susceptible to all of these diseases. So at the same time of them creating these viruses and sending them out, they also promote the standard American diet, right? Where like the primary main part of the food pyramid, like, eating animal flesh and animal products, like you need to eat all this protein and have all of these things so that your body is getting more and more dirty, right? And then your immune system then becomes less and less effective. So the virus or whatever has more room to take over. And that is exactly what is going on. I want to show you another meme here. difference between exosomes and viruses, because it is one of the main deceptions going on here, if you can see. So exosomes are used by cells in animals and plants to basically take things out of cells. If your cell has disease parts in it, if you have a virus in there, the exosomes are going to be used to take that stuff out of the cells. So it does help in your immune system, in cellular, what's the word I'm looking for? Cleaning out your cells, right? But it's different than a virus. As you can see here, this is a virus. I actually have all of these posted on my Facebook as well, so you can actually look at them. This isn't a specific virus. This is a general description showing you how a virus is comprised, what the different pieces of viruses are. So it's kind of like a chef having an ingredients book, right? You take the different ingredients, you take your GAG, you take your M, you take your nucleic acid, and you combine these things, and then that is what is actually a virus. So, you know, obviously, it doesn't happen out of thin air. Viruses aren't naturally occurring. Cake just doesn't make itself. You know, the baker actually has to put the ingredients together, and it's the same with viruses. So that's one of the things that the powers that be don't tell us, is that, you know, they're creating all of these viruses. They wouldn't happen naturally. So if you look on here, you can kind of, it's hard to see a little bit, but like I said, these are available on my Facebook. You can see that they are two completely different things. One is a naturally occurring part of the cell function, God's design, and one is a completely man-made thing that doesn't exist in nature apart from them creating and releasing it. So one of the reasons that this deception is being pushed, this confusion of virology and exosomes, I mean, obviously it makes people look really stupid to confuse these two, but it also the reason that they can promote this is because, you know, how many of us are genetic engineers or have ever even stepped foot in a genetic engineer's lab? We don't know the first thing, right? So not knowing what happens in a genetics lab, the ignorance, in that ignorance, they can deceive and manipulate us, right? So a first-year genetic engineer student would work with the viruses as standard practice. So it's just like a chef works with pots and pans as standard practice, right? And you walk into the kitchen and tell the chef that pots and pans don't exist when they literally use them every single day of their lives. Like, you're going to get laughed out of the room, and then they're going to discredit anything else that you say. So it's like anything else, whether it's flat earth, or you try to, like, in reference to a genetic engineer, if you explain to them about, you know, how evolution isn't possible based on genetic engineering, it's like they're going to be less likely to even consider you when they've laughed you out of the room because you don't know anything about genetic engineering. So there are different viruses. Again, these are available. I could probably repost them on my community page as well. So there are different viruses, some that cause diseases or some that don't cause diseases and some that do cause diseases. The chart here is actually showing green fluorescent protein, which is one of the viruses that these genetic engineers work with as a first-year student, right? So you can look at cells under a microscope and then introduce this GFP, green fluorescent protein, into the cell, and then look at it again, and all of a sudden the cell is fluorescent green, right? Like, it's obvious that something is being introduced, that there is something here, right? And it's not something natural, it's something man-made. So to tell a genetic engineer that, you know, viruses don't exist, when a first-year student literally has worked with this extensively, is going to make you look really, really stupid. I really don't want the truther community to look stupid. Like, I am part of the community, so I don't want us to be labeled as clowns, like piss drinking clowns. And unfortunately, that's like the way that things are going. So I'm trying to slam on the brakes and, you know, tell people what the truth is in the situation. So the ones, you know, viruses that don't cause disease, like this green fluorescent protein, different gene therapies, which ultimately, you know, your genes are are designed by our creator to heal themselves. We have a self-healing machine that is absolutely amazing that we are living in. And the best thing that we can do to heal is just stop consuming anything. Dry fast and allow your body's healing mechanisms to heal you, rather than, you know, trying to search for unnatural gene therapies or anything unnatural, right? I'm a really big promoter of don't go to big pharma or anything unnatural, just fast. And, you know, any herbs or anything that's on Mother Earth that helps with pain killing and stuff like that, you know, that is something that I would be behind, but not things from big pharma. So yes. And then there are viruses that cause diseases, you know, like chickenpox, mono, STDs, HIV, all of these different things. And because viruses are made differently, take different, you can take different ingredients, and, you know, one ingredient can make the GFP, and the other ingredient, you know, the other conglomeration of ingredients mixed together can make HIV, you know. So it depends on what different pieces of the recipe that you choose to determine the outcome of what happens when it gets introduced into humans, whether it causes disease, whether it doesn't, whether you get chickenpox, whether you get, you know, whatever different things are associated with different viruses. And because they are created differently, they can have different modes of transmission, right? We have like STDs that are transmitted one way. We have, you know, colds that are transmitted another way. So, you know, they have different methods of transportation of infecting other people. And I don't know about you, but I remember chickenpox parties from my childhood. I remember, you know, many times throughout my life, and even with this new thing, like one family member would get sick, and then, you know, in a few days, everybody's sick. It's like I've seen contagion in real life. So I know that it's real. So saying that it's not real is another way that truthers are looking really stupid. It's like everybody pretty much, even, you know, globe-trotted evolutionists, like, will accept the fact that chickenpox parties are real. You know, at the beginning of waking up, all the truthers were anti-jab because of measles parties, because of chickenpox parties, and now all of a sudden they're denying the exact existence of what they were just promoting like a few years ago. Which, I mean, I know that, you know, waking up is a process, and sometimes you unlearn and relearn things, but this is one of those times where people are being led into deceptions by, you know, Tom Barnett and what's that, Quackman, I'm not really, Kaufman, I don't know what their name is, but they are promoting this theory that, you know, it's kind of, it's not even what the original terrain theory was. Like, the original terrain theory acknowledged the fact that, you know, germs were real, but it was saying, you know, the germ is nothing and the terrain is everything. So it wasn't like focused on jabbing and wearing masks and all of this. It's focused on making sure that the terrain is healthy, so that anything that does come in, you know, will be fought off. But the promotion of not only it not being contagious, but it being a part of our own bodies, this whole exosome thing, and saying that, you know, when people get colds at the same time, it's like their bodies are detoxing together, which, you know, I do have heard a lot of times they say that women's menstrual cycles will sync up if they're together, but the whole idea of our immune, like, I mean, I don't even really know if that's true, because I don't really spend time around people so much, so I really wouldn't know. But I just saying. anyways, both are partially true in that germs do cause issues, but if the terrain, like the terrain is the most important thing that we should be focused on, right? We should be focused on purifying our diets and our immune system. And then when they do send out different things to kill us off, then we are in the best position to stand against it. But like I was saying, they promote the super focus on the germ, on the virus, on jabbing, on masking, and none on going out and breathing fresh air. And then they want us to take the complete opposite stance and then go even further than just that and deny the existence of viruses. I made this other meme as well. One of the things that people wanted to point at in this topic are virologists and what they do. And as you can see, virologists study the virus after it's already been through the population, like they're studying infected samples, whereas the genetic engineer is the one who actually takes all of the ingredients and puts it together. So when you want to go to an expert to find out the topic, you want to actually go to the source, right? Go to the ones that have worked with viruses, have made their own viruses, and actually talk to them rather than misinfo agents that are promoting clever deceptions. And the last meme that I wanted to share with you is actually one of my favorites, because my computer has a virus. That's great. Viruses are a natural part of your computer's immune system. It's just detoxing. That is how stupid it sounds when people are saying that viruses are part of our immune system. It's like viruses in your computer are not there to help it. They are a bad thing. These viruses that are released on us are not good. They are released for depopulation, to make us sick, to give us this constant, cold and flu season, and how many people go in for their annual jabs every season, and then ironically they're the ones that spread the new variant, right? How many times has that been put out? So I'm gonna check out the live chat. I'm really glad to be here with you guys today, and if you have any questions, if I didn't get to anything, then let me know. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Levi. You're never big on wearing a mask. I have never worn a mask. I refuse to wear a mask. I refuse to cover up my beautiful face. How's it going? Good. How are you? Good. I have something for you. Oh. I feel special. You should. Yeah, Levi, people should be breathing fresh air. That's what should be happening. I didn't have time to wrap it, but it is.
Oh my God, thank you.
That's awesome. Not exactly the one that's shown. It's actually a blue guitar. Right. If I could actually show them on camera, just he showed me his guitar, and we both love drinking tea. So I wanted to get you a present for Christmas. It's a little bit late, but I didn't know what to get you, and then you showed me your guitar, and I was like, that's what I'm going to get.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me hang out and use your facilities. And
absolutely.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Thanks. Hey, everyone. Seed rocks, okay?
Thank you. Marcus says, is the earth flat? Then how can we travel one way and end up in the same spot? And when you're on the ocean, you can see the curvature of the earth. The earth is flat, yes, and how you can travel one way and end up in the same spot. Well, first of all, I've never personally done it, but they say that it's just like a race car track, like a flat circle, and you can go around in a circle, and that's how they explain it on the flat earth model. I've personally never done it, so I can only speak from that. But as far as when you're on the ocean, you can see the curvature of the earth. I definitely beg to differ. When you go to the ocean, you can see that it is completely flat for miles and miles and miles and miles. And they want to say that the curvature this way is apparent, but yet it's completely flat this way. So it doesn't really make sense, right? A ball needs to have curvature going this way and this way, yet it doesn't exist. And the reason that, they say that the curvature is there going this way is because ships disappear when they are going towards the horizon. And if you study perspective, this is something that they introduced in elementary, or I guess it was actually middle school. In middle school, my art teacher put a dot on the middle of the board and then drew a line through it and explained the vanishing point and the horizon, and how when you're trying to draw a picture of perspective, everything goes towards the vanishing point, which is just the farthest that you can see. It's not that Earth is ending there. There's not a big drop off. There's not a big curve. It's just that you can't see any farther. So if you go to the ocean and you have, binoculars or even a camera, you can see with your naked eye, watch the ship disappear, and then grab your binoculars, your camera, and you can, zoom in or focus, and you'll actually be able to see the ship for even longer. And if you have a camera that can zoom really long, you can watch it for a really long time. And it's not that your camera somehow defies, is a magical thing that can catch the glimpse of something over the curvature. It's just that it can see something that you can't, because you can only see a very limited range. And not only can we physically, well, I guess didn't exactly make sense, but my point was, when it comes to, flat Earth and seeing things in the distance, we have limited perspective, but we also have a limited perspective in other manners as well, where, there are certain entities like the jinn that are like our human vision. We're not able to actually see them. And, if they wanted to make themselves apparent to us, then they could. That's a different story. But there are things that we humans, we can't see, we can't hear, because we are so limited. Aaron says to buy a set of binoculars and look again. The field of view is limited. There's no evidence of curvature. The whole heliocentric lie is a theory only. Absolutely. And right along with that, if you go up into an airplane, you can see how flat it is. There's a pilot on Facebook called Pilot LX that posts videos and stuff from up there all the time, and you can just see how flat it is for days. And I went on an airplane as a flat earther, so people, it's kind of funny, globetrotters like, go on an airplane. It's like, I did. I was up there and I looked out. I looked real hard. I mean, I was already a flat earther, so it's not like I was like desperately trying to see it, but I was like, there's no curvature. And then I went and asked the pilot where it is, and they said you have to be higher to see it, which doesn't even mathematically make sense. Yeah, if the Earth is a 24,901 mile circumference sphere, there needs to be measurable curvature somewhere. So Bob says, I'm all ears, germ theory versus train theory, but lean against the germ theory since that has been the narrative. We have been lied to about everything. Yes. And exactly like that is said, it's like us having this general tendency to lean towards anything that's against the mainstream is one of the things that they do use that against us. So we have to be extra careful that we don't fall into these traps. Flat Earth super being. Howdy, Queen. How's it going? Daniel says, stream shared through all playlists. Thank you. I appreciate that. 1111 code says, my intuition is my nutrition. Hey, Inanna. How's it going? Marco says, LOL, I don't know what y'all are saying. I've been to the ocean and tried this. Literally, you can see the Earth curve. I think I kind of already addressed that. Levi, as far as hollow Earth and geocentric goes, yeah, flat Earth is geocentric, meaning the Earth in the middle. And as far as hollow Earth goes, the Earth that we live on is thousands of miles thick. So there are things underneath us. So the whole concept of hollow Earth being that, the Earth is hollow and there's things underneath us, like that is compatible with the truth that we are living on a stationary plane. Flat Earth is kind of a little bit deceptive in that, I can see a mountain right there, right? So it's obviously not a flat pancake Earth. But the concept is that it's a plane of existence, a stationary plane with different geological features. I don't know, whatever. So that, you know, exploring is more fun. How fun is it to explore a flat pancake world? Like we have cool things. Um, yeah. Aaron says you're talking to the wrong guy. For that, I adhere more to the Vedic cosmology and Vedas. I agree with them. It's a sphere, but we live on the inside. Upper half looks like a dome, but as below, so as above, so below. Yeah, that in that I can see, you know, the snow globe, right? If you look at a snow globe, it's not that the object is inside on a station, like it's truth in plain sight, right? So in that, I can see how they can take, you know, the truth of the firmament and all this other stuff, and then twist it, and then come up with a deception that like is kind of a little bit based on a little bit of truth, but twisted. You know, I'm kind of explaining that, but yes, as far as flat Earth goes, that's definitely definitely the truth there. What is on the underside of your sphere? That's a good question, but it's more like that the flat Earth is really really thick that goes down, from my understanding at least. I don't really subscribe to any map or model. I just know that it's a stationary plane in an enclosed realm. I'm not open to infinite Earth. I'm not open to us being on any kind of curved surface, whether it's a globe or a concave. Yeah, there's certain things that I know for sure, and then there are certain things that's like, until I can travel like freely, how would I be able to submit to any map or model? Like, it's just something that I have to accept as a question mark. And for a lot of people, it's like they would rather have their well-packaged web of lies where they have all of the answers, even if they're not real, right? They have all of the answers though, so they can feel like they're smart and intelligent. They have everything figured out. All the pieces of the puzzle fit together. So there's no issues in their life, right? Well, I'm okay with not having all the answers personally. So hopefully you guys are too. There's obviously the AE map that is promoted. They have all sorts of deception, you know, with the floating disk inside the solar system, which no flat earther that I know of believes, but just different models than the Enochian model, with the portals going, you know, on one side of the earth and on to the other, where the sun and moon enter into these portals. And it's like a more of a Pac-Man type thing. I'm open to whatever the truth is, but I'm acknowledging the fact that I don't have all of the answers, and I'm personally okay with that. There's just certain things that we're not going to be able to, like, we might never know things. Like, it's not even humanly possible to know everything. I personally wouldn't want it to know everything. But in the future, when we do have, you know, a golden age, and the territory that the golden age, you know, it's not just that it starts one day and then the whole world is a perfect paradise. It is an event. It's a gradual thing. So my focus is starting the golden age in Mount Shasta, and then over time, like, it's like it naturally expands. People are going to want to be part of it, and being able to have open borders and travel freely will ultimately come with that as well. So hopefully we can extend the golden age, you know, to the ends of the earth and travel freely. But I can't make any promises about, you know, the extent of how much we'll be able to travel, especially going underneath the earth. Yeah, that's kind of like Nakash and other territory, and I personally am not interested in going underground. I just kind of feel claustrophobic thinking about it, so it's not really my cup of tea. But I know that there is a lot of stuff underground. And as far as traveling, I want to travel mainly on the surface and figure out, you know, what's beyond Antarctica, and especially at the North Pole. So that's mainly my focus, just so everybody knows. The flat earth super being says today is powerful for spells. 2222. Oh, that is interesting. I saw someone post about that, but I didn't realize that it was today. Aaron says compass and square works on a flat level surface, not on a bowl. Isn't that really cool too? How like I personally really have a passion for looking into the original meanings of like signs and symbols and seeing how, like, for instance, the Freemasons, what their original beliefs were, and then seeing how it's been corrupted over time. And from my research, them, worshiping the grand architect of our realm, the compass and square makes perfect sense. And, it's just such a shame that these things have been demonized and, just I love flat earth, like knowing that we live in this cool realm it's like I was already a theist before I knew that we were created and stuff, but it really solidified that for me. And it's just really exciting to know all of these truths. Personally, I feel so. Flat Earth Super Being says World War III starts in 20 days. What other information do you have about that? Why do you think that that's going to be happening? Daniel says, I knew it intuitively from first physics lessons in school. That's really cool. I feel like I did have something like in the back of my mind that didn't fully ever accept the globe. It's kind of like in school in general, my mentality kind of was like, what do I need to say to get out of this class? Like, tell me what answers I need to pass the test so that I can get out of here. Like, I knew that, the history that I was being taught it's just the winners write the history books, right? Like, I knew at a fundamental level that I was being deceived. I didn't know the extent to which I was being deceived. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to on the other side of our lives, if we can look back on our life like as a movie almost and see like when we first had these certain thoughts, or when our first, flat earth in middle school came up or something, like our first thought, like, maybe that was it. And then we just buried it because, we weren't really actively looking for ways that we've been deceived. We weren't actively looking for the truth, right? As a child, you're just like, whatever I need to say to get my golden sticker, to get the A plus and get out of here, so that so we can hurry up and rush along to be slaves. Is that why we all rushed out of high school and school? Just messing. It's not like, I mean, I guess I do have feelings of my glory days and, playing basketball and all of that kind of fun, but I kind of wish that I could go back knowing what I know now, but I would be so especially because I went to a Christian school. So it's like, you're going to try to teach me that I live on a giant spinning ball while trying to preach the Bible at me. Like, oh my gosh, that would be so much fun to go back knowing what I know now. But I know I was already a troublemaker back then. So I know I would be getting in even more trouble, like questioning my teachers, and that'd be really fun. Okay, Marcos says, who drinks their piss? Unfortunately, a lot of people. Flat Earth Super Being says Dave Murphy. Dave Murphy is a wicked deceiver, loves people drinking pee-pee. Yes. Marcos, there's a lot of inverted clowns in the community pushing it, the ones that have like thousands and thousands of subs. And then if you look at their biomarkers, they are not, they don't add up to the sex that they're trying to portray, if you know what I'm saying. If you don't, check out my Transvestigation 101 video and learn how to tell biomarkers, because yes. But there's actually a video of flat earthers drinking a pish, like a secret hangout show with a bunch of earth personalities, and one of the most famous earth, the man who shall not be named, and I use it loosely because men, in my opinion, do not behave like MTFs. They act like men. So anyways, this very prominent flat earther was promoting it and basically like saying, if you're just going to put it on your face, it's like, what are you doing? Like, I know what you're doing. You're trying to convince humans to be clowns so that you can laugh at us and not feel as bad about you being a clown. Like misery loves company. Oh, if the clowns can get everybody to be a clown, then the humans won't be laughing at them. Well, that's going to be stopping. It already has stopped. And now we are laughing at you because you are a clown who drinks your pee and you dress up like a girl. Like, what is wrong with you? We already know, but anyways. Flat Earth Super Being says the floods will come to end the war. What do you have more about this that you're talking about? Because I know that they are planning a pestilence, famine, war, death, like the four horsemen. It's being like different wars are being set up so that we, you know, the whole point of calling it a China virus and trying to blame China is to create this animosity so that we can go to war with them, right? So that humans will be like, well, they killed my granny, so I'm gonna go and kill them. Like, and then humans from this side can go and kill humans from this side when neither of the humans actually had anything to do with the thing that was created by the powers that be at the top and put out, right? They try to say that it came from eating animals, which, you know, eating animals does create an environment where diseases can thrive, but it doesn't create like it's just not realistic. It's one of the ways that the vegan community is being turned into clowns by them promoting this idea that eating animals is what started this, when that's just not what happened. Like, it's just viruses, like I said, it's like a cake doesn't just make itself. They actually have to go and grab these specific, like a virus is a specific thing. It's not something, it's like the combination of these different ingredients mixed together is a virus, and you can pick different ingredients, swap them out, kind of like making a different potion, right? Like the potion might be for a tea, like the potion itself is a tea and you need these different ingredients, but then you can substitute different, like different tea leaves and stuff, right? Like you can put different things in, but ultimately you're creating what is known as a virus, and it is real, and they are made in genetics labs. But we need to focus not on jabs and masks. Like I said, I don't want people to get confused and say that I'm promoting one or the other when I'm saying the terrain theory is absolutely true, and that if our terrain is clean, that's what we need to worry and focus on. I'm not in any way promoting any big pharma nonsense. Someone was trying to say that because I say that viruses are real, that I'm attached to big pharma. It's like, I literally talk against big pharma every single step of the way. Like, nothing should come from them ever. Like, if you want to die, then go to a doctor. If you don't want to die, then just drive fast. Like, okay, that's your best bet in this world. Stay as far away from these clowns as you can, because they are not trained to, you know, they don't know the first thing about nutrition. They don't know that your body is a self-healing machine, and that if you just stop putting junk in, it will heal itself of everything. Like, and so yeah, anyone trying to accuse me of being a pharma promoter is a clown who just does not take time to understand what I'm actually saying. Because, yeah, personally, I care about speaking the truth. I don't care about what other people have to say about me. Hey, Stephen, how's it going? I'm trying to read through here. There's been a lot going on in the chat. Let me just check. Gravity is a theory too. Absolutely. The theory that holds all of their lives together. If you try to convince somebody that there's billions of gallons of water sticking to a giant spinning ball, when, you know, you can go into the real world and get a wet tennis ball and fling it around and you see the water fly off, right? So in order to keep all the water on the ball that's spinning around, that's defying every, you know, every just natural that we can see all around us. They need this lie that holds everything together, and that's where gravity comes in. And it is strong enough to keep that lie together. It's strong enough to keep those billions of gallons of water on the giant spinning ball. It's strong enough to keep people in Australia upside down right now. Let's just take a moment and thank gravity for all those people in Australia that are upside down, that would just be falling off the globe if there wasn't for gravity. Oh, all hail gravity. Anyways, that was a little bit much, but you get the point. It is not real. So Marcus says, what then is in outer space? Outside of this this physical realm, the ancients all refer to a cosmic ocean, and it's ether, which, you know, Tesla talks about ether. Our souls are made of ether. So basically outside of this world is only ether, and inside of, like, all physical matter is contained within the dome. So this one realm that we live in, Sophia is, I guess it's kind of opening another door to all of this talk, but Sophia's soul became this realm, and it is the only, you know, physical realm that there is. So you being physical in a, well, you are not yourself physical, you're in a physical vessel as a soul. You can't physically leave this realm. All the physical matter stays inside of this realm. And if you want to leave, you know, it has to be through other means, death, people, you know, dying, and even with astral projection, kind of getting a more out of the physical body and kind of dissociating with it to a more extent. But yeah, and outside of this realm, there are many souls watching us, other souls that, you know, try to basically get as far away from this show that they can. You know, if you like imagine an ocean and then like a kind of like a almost a ball of light, really like kind of what we have here in all of these souls, and then like the farther away that you go from physical matter, like the darker it gets, the, you know, the less souls there are out there. It's kind of getting into other topics, but there are souls outside that you know, are not allowed inside. This is an exclusive VIP event. And there are souls, you know, the ones that will come in and do a lot of evil. There are souls that want to end this existence. They don't want physical matter to be a thing anymore. They want to go back to the silence of the cosmic ocean, and, well, not necessarily silence, but not all of the hustle and bustle going on underneath the dome. And, you know, there are, in the spiritual realm, when you're not limited by these physical restraints, when you are connected to your divine self, the Gnostics say we are all gods and goddesses, you know, in human form. We're having this human experience. We chose to come in here to have this experience, but outside this realm, you know, we don't have the same types of limitations. So souls can create something that resembles physical matter, like what we're in now. They can create a world, but it wouldn't actually be made out of physical matter. So you know, it's not like it's that nothing is happening out there. Things can happen, things do happen, but at the end of the day, you know, if we wanted to be there, then we would be there, and there's a reason that we're here. So yeah, some people would say that it's really boring outside, and that this is, you know, how these, I won't say eternal, because I don't believe that souls or anything is eternal, but, you know, gods and goddesses live a really long time. And, you know, one of the ways that we can entertain ourselves and in one manner help us to not go crazy, but in another manner kind of also going crazy, coming into this reality, having our minds wiped, and, you know, going through this experience that we call life, can they give our souls something to do, give us different avenues of learning new things, different new wisdoms to be learned, which is why Sophia is doing this. But, you know, what I said is, like, you know, kind of coming in here and doing things can kind of, you know, lead to a little bit of its own type of insanity. But different topic. I personally am invested in keeping this reality going. I enjoy coming in here, and I really, really look forward to the experience of being a mom. Like, I know that I would come into this world like a million times over just to have, like, I haven't even had the experience yet, and I'm sitting over here like, oh, what is it? What a great joy of being a mother. Like, all of the things that we can experience in this reality, not just having having sex, eating delicious food, having even the other stuff, like having needs, like that doesn't happen in the spiritual. Like, you don't have needs outside of this world. It's a different experience. So having this world that we come into, where we are limited, where we have needs, where we experience different things, I personally am invested in keeping it going. And there are souls that are invested in ending it. So there is a war going on in that as well. And there's also the battle of good and evil that's happening under the dome, and where Satan being the controlled opposition, there's that kind of a battle that is going on as well. And like, if you've seen my video about Satan being controlled opposition, he is contracted to corrupt us, but he also has a personal underlying issue with humans that drives him and can make him super nasty. And other entities as well, when humans do evil, when humans are all eating and enslaving animals and doing all of this evil, it gives them a lot of karmic justification and room to then come in and torture humans, which they get pleasure from. They don't like humans in the first place. So as soon as we give them 1 inch, they will take as much as they can. Like, as soon as you do one evil thing, if there's one tally mark on that clipboard of against you, there are entities that are going to jump in there and have, they're just sitting there salivating, waiting to taste your pain and suffering. Like, that's just kind of like the reality that we live in. But the point was that, this spiritual warfare isn't just happening inside this realm. There's spiritual warfare outside, and warfare against matter, matter herself, the mother herself. So it's pretty interesting. Hey, Chris, how's it going? Levi says the pools are no fly zones for a reason. Yes. Flat Earth Super Being says, what tea you drink? This tea is what they have here. It's just this Earl Grey stash. But recently I just ordered this. I want to make sure I say the word right. Okay. It is called Ginkgo biloba or biloba. And it is supposedly really good for a lot of different ancient medicines. I'm really into tea. If I can drink a tea for like any sort of like issue rather than taking a pill, like I would love tea. So yeah, I ordered some of that on Amazon, and it does seem to be doing pretty well. I also ordered this sacred 7 mushroom powder. So I'll let you know how my experience with that is. I've been putting it in my tea as well. So yeah. I also like to drink this Tazo lemongrass tea, and then during that time of the month, I have a raspberry tea that's supposed to help with menstrual cramps and stuff. So and actually I also have a sleepy time tea. So it's like I have teas for any mood at any time of the day. But there's a sleepy time tea that's called like organic nighty night tea or something like that. It's really good. It's passion flower, and it's really, really tasty. I actually haven't been able to enjoy it since I got back my sense of taste and smell. So I think I should go and grab some of that. Chris says the surface we live on is definitely flat. Yes. Marco says, so what's past the Arctic? That is a good question, especially because, I don't really subscribe to any map or model. So I'm not really sure. The Enoch map is actually like a square, and having like the Arctic at the top and the Antarctic at the bottom. And one of the things that I I don't know fully yet until we can travel. The whole concept of Arctic being cold and Antarctic or anti-Arctic being hot, and maybe having cold and hot. Like, I'm not really sure exactly. I'm open to whatever the truth is, but I don't subscribe to any specific map or model because I can't look for myself. I just know that it's flat. Aaron says, "Hey Levi, have you ever heard of the book Beyond the Pools? It's said to be a documentary, not fiction. Free PDFs online if you're interested." Yes, absolutely. Hi, Michael Byrne. How's it going? Bob says, "Neither just the germ theory or just the train theory, but both is our reality." Yes, it's like pretty much every single Hegelian dialectic. Like, I mean, I guess not really every, because the Hegelian dialectic of like jab versus non-jab is like, there's only one solid way to go with that, guys. We are not junkies. We don't need to be injecting anything like into our bodies. The immune system is all that we need. Yeah. But when it comes to like Republican versus Democrat and liberal versus conservative, it's like both sides have like, the one thing that comes to mind is like the right side is pro-life when it comes to babies, but they are really big pro-death when it comes to every other species babies. Whereas, the left is pro-death of human babies and a lot of times pro-life of other species. It's like we should be pro-life of all the babies, like, whether it's a cow baby or a human baby, we should protect them because they are babies and they're innocent and they're helpless. They need us that are actually strong to use our strength to protect them, to make sure that if we see somebody going up to a dog and kicking it, it's like, do you just close your eyes and walk by, or do you say, "Hey, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you want me to kick you like you're kicking that dog?" Like, maybe you don't get so aggressive with it, but seriously, if that doesn't trigger in you something, if you see animals being abused and it doesn't trigger something in you that you like are angry about this injustice, like, I would suggest to lay off the fluoride and seriously look in the mirror and try to see what is wrong with your lack of empathy and compassion. And yeah. Aaron's Daniel says, "Hey chat, and Inanna, check my playlist if you give a damn. I love you all. Peace." Okay. See you later if you're leaving. I guess that's what that means. Bob says, "However, John D. Rockefeller realized that if he could educate the world to only believe in the germ theory, then he could sell the jabs for billions and billions of dollars. So he bought all the medical schools and changed the curriculum. He removed the terrain theory, which all the homeopaths, neuropaths, chiropractors, and healers used. He inserted germ theory." Yes, the whole schooling system in every department really is controlled by them, but especially big pharma, right? So it's like every nurse, every doctor is all going through this same system, so they're learning the same lies. One of the things that just popped into my mind was that I wish I could find this. It was a interview with some nurse who had done studying in other countries, and she was saying that like C-sections never, rarely ever happen. And then in the United States, it's like they happen all of the time. And obviously, not only is there more money to be made from C-sections, but it's it makes the whole birthing experience unpleasant. Having this major surgery, you have to recover from the surgery and being on pain meds and breastfeeding, like it's just a whole big issue that has been created purposefully to hurt humans. But the point was that the person in the interview was saying that in other countries, like C-sections rarely ever happen. There are so many different ways that they can, if the baby's not turned the right way or if the baby's not coming out, whatever, they had different methods to deal with it rather than, okay, let's go in and chop this mother open. Like, so yeah, anyways, the point is that the whole medical industry really needs to be retrained, fixed. I don't know, just fixed. That's all. Interesting symbology, ancient masonry, and earlier on agreed. Aaron says yes. Levi says, in flat earth cosmology, is the moon flat too? The moon and sun are self-illuminating disks. They are like yin and yang. The sun is producing this heating light. If you go outside during the day and you stand in direct sunlight, you're going to be hot. Then you go and stand in the shade, it's cooler. It's the opposite with the moon. If you are in direct moonlight, it is cooler. And then if you go into the shade, it will actually be warmer. So that's just one of the ways that these lights are different. And the moon, you know, if you go out in the morning and there's dew on the ground, the moon is a wetting light. Whereas, you know, you can bake things in the sun, like it dries things out. The sun makes you feel really content, whereas the moon brings out the lunatics. I'm not sure how often you've been out on the full moon, but I am out on the full moon quite often, and things do get quite interesting sometimes. And that's not to say anything negative about the moon. I think that the moon and the sun, you know, being this yin and yang, a lot of the things in our reality are like a reflection of truth outside, right? As above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. So we see a lot of these, you know, the dualistic nature, really, like male and female, right? The truth that we see in our reality is that all of the species are either male or female, right? Occasionally we have, you know, if, don't throw your stones at me, but if mom is poisoning herself while she is pregnant, then it can cause issues, birth defects, then you can have abnormalities. So occasionally, you know, they do have abnormalities, but they're abnormalities. They're caused because of something going wrong. It's not that it is an inherent part of creation. It's a wonky creation from creation being poisoned. So in nature, you know, male and female, that's what we have. And as above, souls are either male or female, god or goddess. Like there's just two options, and they promote the whole concept of, you know, the soul doesn't have sex, blah, blah, blah. And ultimately that is so that they can try to convince you, try to confuse you, and get you to think that you are born in the wrong body, and then try to get you to spend your life trying to live life as the opposite sex, which is something, you know, it's a goal that you can never actually achieve. Like no matter what you do to yourself, you can never actually be what you are trying to be, right? So just by that alone, like I always come back to parenting, because it's like I have a really maternal mind. I'm always thinking about, like, if I had a child in this situation, right, like how would I handle it? Like that's just kind of my mentality. And it's like I ultimately want what's best for my child, and I want to promote a lifestyle and goals for them that are achievable, that aren't going to result in him walking through the door someday with fake tits and, you know, his willy chopped off. Like that is what was that? That's not something that I can support. That would be like, that would personally, for me, if that happened, I would give myself a permanent F as a mother in my book. Like something went seriously wrong if that is what happened. And supporting that lifestyle is the last thing that I would do. Like I would do absolutely everything in my everything that I could do, everything in my possibilities that okay, I'm getting kicked out of here. I do everything that I can to make sure that that I can do whatever I need to do to get him to heal from this trauma, this pain. These little things, see?
Yeah, I've been expecting you.
Oh, okay, good.
Did you have dinner?
Well, we're waiting for other people. All right, I'm actually gonna have to wrap up because these people are gonna be taking over the room.
I want one.
Okay, so you need.
One for me.
When you're ready.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get off of here, guys. But if you have other questions and stuff that you need me
They
to,
were so good the last time.
Melody says, so basically you think doctors are unnecessary. I'm not hating, just trying to understand your point. Personally, like if I got in a car accident or something, then there's a possibility like the doctors are the only ones that can save my life. But even then, like I personally do not trust them at all. I don't want them to have any power over me. So like the last thing that I would want to be in is in their possession. But if doctors like actually knew about how the body works, they weren't trained in medical malpractice to prescribe pills to chop you up, like then I would be all for them. Like, you know, if somebody falls out of a tree and breaks their arm, having someone that can set their bones and like, you know, fix it is important. But as far as prescribing pills and everything, not so much. The lights are behind that second door on the left there. Yeah. All right. I gotta get out here. The moon is just a reflector of light. No, Levi, actually the moon creates its own light. And like I was saying, you can see that they are creating different temperature lights for yourself. So you should definitely try to get a laser thermometer and put something in direct moonlight and something in the shade, and then leave them out for a while and then check the temperatures, and you'll see that the one in the moonlight is cooler. All right, guys, I am headed out. I'm not sure what's going on here, but I will be back on Sunday at noon, so make sure that you stay tuned, and I will catch up with you then.